Hello there, it's Niall from Tier Zero Games, coming at you with my debut locals deck profile, I guess. For the past 3 weeks, I've been playing Plunder Patrols with some success. So I won the last two locals, and I went X1 with them this week. But that's not to say that the deck isn't very fun and very good. What you're looking at here is a very, very standard list. You sort of just throw in 3 of everything that's good and follow them up with some hand traps. There are a few changes I'll go through, but I'll probably do that towards the end of the video. Anyway, we start with 3 Whitebeard. Basically what Whitebeard does is when you discard him or he gets sent from the monster zone to the grave, he specials from deck. A lot of other effects are going to be able to accommodate that pretty nicely, especially Bluebeard, you can use to sort of chain block him. A lot of their effects also have discards, so the field spell discards to search, Golden Hair discards to special, and all of the extra deck monsters, bar the Link 2, will discard to activate their effects. Not only that, when you use it to fusion summon for a list, you'll be able to special summon in addition, which is pretty nice. All in all, he's basically the best one in the deck. If you could run another 3 of him, you probably would. He also has a very nice secondary effect if you get him onto the field with a patrol booty, the call of the haunted of the deck. You basically special summon an extra deck monster depending on what attribute your opponent has in the field or grave, matching the extra deck monsters. And it goes into the spell and trap card zone. Yeah, all in all, great card. Then Redbeard is its counterpart. It's a little worse, but it comes up because it instead of specialing from deck when it gets sent from hand, discarded from hand, it's sent from hand, but leaves the monster zone to the grave, it'll re-equip itself, and that can be quite nice. List can special it to use it as an XYZ material, or you can bounce it with Plunder Patrol Shipyard as well, sort of to reset itself and get a discard. And of course, being able to do this will always mean that you can either search with it, find a card you want, and then have fodder for the rest of your cards. Now, Bluebeard and Golden Hair, they're sort of both of the extenders of the deck to try and actually hard make a lot of your XYZ monsters and the Link monster. Bluebeard is very good. Basically, if you have a hand trap that isn't working for you in the matchup, like a Nibiru or an Ogre, you can just discard it to try and draw into an additional Plunder card, because you want to be able to see as many Plunder cards on your turn as possible, just so that your elements of interaction can actually function. Although as long as you have cards in your hand, your opponent is going to have to make the assumption that your pieces of interaction will work. And Bluebeard, so he specials from hand when you control a Plunder, but also he discards a card and draws a card, of course. And then Golden Hair is pretty busted. You can discard it's got 2 special summoning functions. The first one is kind of good in certain ways. It can obviously proc your Whitebeards and your Redbeards, but also it basically just has a recurring effect in grave to discard any card to special summon it, but you get locked into Plunders. But that's it, you can do that once a turn and it won't get banished. So it can almost be one of the more important ones to get into grave, because you're going to be able, as long as you're drawing for turn, you're always going to be able to get a Plunder on the field, and then everything sort of spins from there. If you have a Redbeard in hand and draw it for turn, you can discard it with the Golden Hair, then equip Redbeard, and then bounce it with Shipyard that got popped by your opponent in the last turn, and then you've got the Redbeard in hand again, and you can discard to search for anything. You haven't used your normal summon yet, so you go off from there. And this happens fairly regularly. It's one of the reasons why I think it's just so great. Obviously now you're going to run some cards like Ash Blossom, of course. It's very good this format, I guess. Ghost Ogre is a bit more of a meta pick for Numerons and such. So that's pretty good as well. Nibiru, of course. I think personally for me at my locals, like, this card's been a bit less impactful, and of course Plunder's sort of struggle actually outing the token that Nibiru makes if the monster, if everything that your opponent's made isn't like a link monster. So it's pretty funny. It's like one of the reasons why we run a Dingirsu. It's because it's non-targeted removal, and you can just make it with your level 8s, which is pretty funny. And I never actually made a Dragite, but it is a rock type for its additional ability. Imperm, one of the best hand traps. Now Booty is a great card. When I was first introduced to the deck, I was told that it was like sort of central to the sort of the combos of the deck and stuff. I don't find that that's the case. I think the deck does a lot on its own. Largely when you have a Shipyard and Grave and you start to get to like recycle both of these guys. I would actually say that Shipyard Shipping is the best non-monster in the deck, alongside Shipyard, of course, because you get to it's basically a fusion card summon, but it's also a discard for your field spell, and then you equip a Whitebeard, and then you like bounce the Whitebeard or special it with less, and then you've just gained access to a monster that can be ashed, and then you can possibly chain block the Whitebeard as well, which is pretty nice. The deck is just, a brain dead 3 of everything, so you get to run Pot of Desires as well. And then we end up with Terraforming and Foolish Railgits. Now, I did miss out Shipyard, Shipping, Emblem, and Shipyard because I wanted to talk about these last. The reason why I chose 2 Emblem is because I'm technically running 5 copies because of Shipyards, and I think Shipyards is a better card to see, simply because of the versatility of you get to equip. If you've seen a Whitebeard, if you've seen a Redbeard, you don't have to equip either. You can equip Golden Hair. If you're actually struggling with just a Golden Hair and Shipyard Shipping, you can normal summon this, make an Almirage, bring it back, and then discarding Shipyard Shipping. And then you can equip anything from any monster or spell from deck, including Emblem and Fusion, something like that. You do actually get to use your own attributes that are on the field and grave with Emblem, so there are times where you can discard either your Ghost Ogres or your Nibiru's hard with Golden Hair to be able to then, sort of like use an emblem from hand to make a list that way, which is pretty funny. I'd probably try to side Nibiru's instead for something, perhaps. Other than that, it's sort of, it's basically, in those matchups, it's literally just a light attribute or a discard for the field spell. So there are scenarios where it doesn't matter, it's just a vanilla, it's just a discard. This card's amazing. Basically, it has a graveyard effect, which basically makes Foolish Burial Goods either a sort of soft rotor for any monster or emblem in the deck, or even sending Shipyard to be able to add a card from Spell and Trap Zone back to hand to be able to use it as fodder again. It searches for anything in the deck, and it can reset itself, and it's absolutely bonkers. We've talked about this. So my reasoning for 1 Foolish Burial Goods is just because 3 can be a bit slow, and I guess it's nice to see when you see it, but it's not particularly essential because you basically almost always want to hard draw these cards anyway, and with the amount of discard you get, you don't really struggle to get stuff engraved. But it could be definitely something I mess around with if I decide to mess up with the ratios and things. Anyway, moving on to the extra deck, I've got 3 Blackbeard. This card is brilliant. You can basically, whenever you want, target an effect monster you control and special a Plunder with the depending on what attributes your opponent has access to from the field engrave. And then you get to draw a card, and the draw card can be very, very essential sometimes, because you could be in situations where it's been a very, attrition-based game, and you're lacking elements of interactivity because you're lacking plunders in hand and stuff. Maybe you only have an Ash or an Iberian hand, and you're able to draw into the card, which will get you snowballing when you start resolving your big guys, your big ships. Absolutely fantastic card, and it could also, if you go into a matchup and you're siding in token collectors and things where your opponent's trying to do a needle fiber combo, and you sort of pop all of their Auroradon tokens or Linkross tokens, you can actually use Blackbeard to target the effect monster like token collector, and then make something and keep your Link monster, which is very nice. Moving on to Bran. This is the spell and trap removal. The Synchro and the XYZ, they both become quick effects when equipped with Plunders in the spell and trap card zone. This makes Redbeard very impactful because you can discard it from hand after searching for it with a Bran, then use the Blackbeard that you've still got on board to go into a Moek. It's already equipped, or there'll be scenarios where one of your two ships will have been made properly, like with 2 level 4 monsters. You'll have a Bran, you'll have searched for a Redbeard, you'll have to just shotgun this card's effect, get Redbeard to proc engrave to equip to Moek, searching for the monster like a Whitebeard to have the discard to banish an effect monster, which is a very powerful move on Moek's part. And then you'll be able to discard that Whitebeard you've probably searched for to add another one of these, because it's always nice to get engrave. And then you can probably use Whitebeard to special Redbeard to get the additional summon of a list, and then you've been able to summon, you've been able to resolve each one and then end on a monster negate, and that can be very hard to deal with for a lot of decks at the moment. It also gives all fiends 500 attack. Now this doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's coupled with the Plunder Field spell, it's not. If you're resolving all of your effects, you're gonna win, because all of your plunders are going to be gaining 1,500 to 2,000 attack, and they become very hard to deal with as points of interaction. Now Bran always, whatever plunder card it discards, it will always search for a monster. And Moek will always search for a spell or a trap. Okay. Liss is probably the I don't know, one of the reasons for playing the deck. It is an anomaly negate, it only negates monsters. But it's always a quick effect regardless of whether it's equipped to something. In the most optimal scenario, you've got something equipped to it that it can special, in additionally, so if you resolve a Blackbeard in your opponent's turn, after sort of interacting them with your others, you can bring on a Liss to draw a card, and then at the end of the main phase, you can special Blackbeard again, ready to draw an additional card, and it can snowball very quickly from there. Liss, in the scenario where it does negate and destroy a monster, that while it's equipped to something, it will search for anything in the deck. So it's a very high ceiling for what it can actually accomplish, and that's always nice. Now, of course, the deck does have some problems with some more rare mono attribute decks, but a lot of the time that can sort of be solved just by being able to hard make a Moek or something. Playing into certain decks, if Salad have set a rage, you can just force out the rage with a golden hair and a bluebeard, because you're threatening to make the Moek, which, oh by the way, can detach a material to stop plunder cards being destroyed. The side deck is very sort of dependent on my locals. It's just that's for dinos, that's for needle fiber combo, Eldritch or whatever. That's just a good card, and I've been trying out Blizzard. I think the card's very good against things like Invoked. But obviously, it's only really good for going first, so it's in the side deck for now. Everything else here is standard. Like I've got my Bahamut Totally thing. This is good against Dogmatic because it can give me a Plunder card or add itself back. I never make Dweller. I never make Dragite. This is just very messy at the end here. It can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to run some Link 4s or whatever, do it. You can do what you want. If you want to just run 3 Natis or whatever, you can do that too. It all depends on really what you have access to and what you're going to be playing against. Yeah, I'm going to leave that there anyway. Let me know in the comments what you think of the deck, if you've been playing it, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And like and subscribe for more Tier 0 content. Thank you very much.